This is QTV Nightly News coming to you live from our studios on Kairaba Avenue, and I'm Jenna Wasonko. Thanks for joining us here at the main news headlines. At the end of consultative dialogues on different thematic areas which preceded the national dialogue, stakeholders recommended reintroducing the rejected draft constitution and the full implementation of recommendations from the TRRC and the Janneh Commission, amongst others. As the Gambia prepares to celebrate its 59th independence anniversary on 18 February, we engaged the public on their reflections and developmental aspirations for the nation. 4 months on from its start and after much speculation, the Operation Clear the Roads team reached Kairaba Avenue in Kanifing on Thursday. In international news, witchcraft charges against Seychelles' main opposition leader Patrick Hamami have been dropped by prosecutors. In sports news, Kenya's President William Ruto has taken the compassionate decision to build a 3-bedroom house for the family of the late marathon world record holder Calvin Kiptum, who tragically lost his life in a road traffic accident on Sunday. Those were the main headlines, and now the news in detail. Do stay. Thank you so much for joining us, and I am Jenna Wasonko. At the end of consultative dialogues on different thematic areas which preceded the national dialogue, stakeholders recommended reintroducing the draft rejected constitution in its present form and the full implementation of recommendations from the Janneh Commission of Inquiries, such as TRRC and the Janneh Commission of Inquiries, amongst others. Alwisise has the rest of that.
These consultative dialogues focused on various thematic areas on political environment for sustainable peace and stability, religious tolerance for social cohesion, ethnic diversity for national unity, securing sovereignty, safeguarding stability and well-being, media, safeguarding democratic space, and irregular migration and empowerment. Reading out their respective recommendations at the National Dialogue Forum, presided over by President Adama Barrow on Friday, and attended by various political actors and members of the CSOs, among others, Seth Mati Jau, Mohamed Lamin Sane, and Louis S.A. Alsan, respectively, said the recommendations include the need to reintroduce the draft constitution in its present form, establishing an interreligious committee, and to use cultural norms and values to promote national unity.
To build trust in the public, but also to build trust in the stakeholders, we recommend that to reintroduce the 2020 draft constitution in its present form to the National Assembly.
And appoint 2 religious focal persons in the ministry responsible for religious affairs who will be working in collaboration with the proposed interreligious committee.
Looking at the educational aspect, to integrate civic and cultural education. And this aims to educate people about their own and other cultural practices, fostering understanding and respect among the people.
On the other thematic areas, securing sovereignty, safeguarding stability and well-being, role of media in safeguarding democracy, and irregular migration and empowerment, Chernobari, Mohamed Esbah, and Basiru J, respectively, said their respective groups recommended the completion of all reforms and full implementation of the Commission's recommendations, the need to repeal the existing draconian anti-press freedom laws, and for government to improve on migration governance through advocacy and community sensitization, reorientation, and legislation.
Should encourage independence of regulatory bodies by creating an enabling environment for technically informed decision making. Such technical bodies, such as the Medical Control Agency, PURA, and related bodies, should have no intervention in the exercise of their duties from the above.
So we believe that there should be at least an accreditation regime to be looked into to ensure that we know who are journalists and who are not journalists.
Creating the national program on migration will enable everyone to work according to the program, because we have realized that there is a duplication of effort everywhere. So creating this, having a national migration program will help in terms of creating a balanced relationship.
Commenting on the recommendation to introduce the draft constitution in its original form, CDS Kenjai, Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, who began by commending the President for the foresight in convening the dialogue, said there is a need to first critically look at the reasons why it was rejected in Parliament.
We must look at the draft constitution as it was rejected and frankly come out as political stakeholders, citizens, religious stakeholders, and look at the contentious issues, because the threshold to get the draft passed in Parliament and also to get 50% of the total voters to vote and 75% of the voters to say yes is a high threshold.
The dialogue attracted divergent views on diverse issues of concern, notably the slow pace of the security reform, gender parity, the rights of persons with disabilities, and the need for a responsible media through capacity building. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
Independence Day commemorations are an ideal time to reflect on freedom and sustainable development. As the Gambia celebrates 59th anniversary of its independence on 18 February, I engaged the public on their reflections and developmental aspirations. Here's the report. The Gambia gained independence on 18 February 1965 from British colonial rule. Commemoration of the day serves as an annual reminder of the heroic freedom fighters who fought to end colonial rule. Part of developmental reflections ahead of the Gambia's 59th Independence Day celebration addresses the issue of the failed draft constitution. Lawmakers rejected a draft constitution to replace the 1997 constitution after consultations locally and internationally. Keba Jan shares his opinion on the subject.
Throwing the whole constitution into the dustbin, factoring in the amount of money that was spent, into bringing the constitution into effect, that to me is a loss to this country. So we need to look at it again. There may be some sections of the constitution that are troubling. There may be some sections of the constitution that are not in the best interest of the country. Personally, I have certain sections of the constitution that I believe are in conflict with my religious values. I have certain sections of the constitution that I believe are in conflict with my cultural values. But we can still look at it again. There are certain aspects of the constitution that are good, that seeks to address, term limit in this country.
Gambia's first ever national dialogue for political parties was hosted by President Adama Barrow, aiming to foster unity and address the country's challenges. Jalika Kinte applauds the initiative and calls for its continuity.
Well, I want to see political parties coexisting because we are all Gambians. And when politics is approaching, sometimes you hear people insulting each other, saying all sort of things. I think that is undone because we are all Gambians, we are all Gambian citizens. We should do things that it will be beneficial to everyone in the country, not to build hatred in our hearts for other political parties. We should not be rival, I can say. So after the dialogue, I want to see political leaders interacting, sharing ideas, and doing stuff to take the country forward, not backward.
Foreign aid is also part of conversations ahead of the Independence Day celebrations. Foreign aid involves a transfer of financial resources or commodities, for example, food, military equipment, or technical advice and training. Babukar Jeng shares his take on independence and sovereignty.
Hamga niki fake ñu la dimbalé ak ci bor bu nekk bu muntu don do mëna firi fake ñu la dimbalé.
As long as someone is helping you in every aspect, either as a country or individual, you can't be sovereign. Therefore, we should all work hard to support ourselves and country. Like the wall of saying goes, whoever lends you eyes will direct your vision.
Apart from the national dialogues organized for sectors such as civil society, young people and political parties, this year's Independence Day celebrations will feature the usual march past at McCarthy Square in Banjul by the men and women of our military and police forces and school children. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Basonko. 4 months on from its start and after much speculation, the Operation Clear the Roads team reached Kairaba Avenue in Kanifing. Mamadou Gajaga accompanied the operations team, and this is his report. Narrated by Lena Igwenyiba.
Along the Kairaba Avenue from St. Teresa's School, heading towards traffic lights, business owners were warned to move their structures and businesses seen to have encroached onto part of the road. Stalls, shops and other structure owners were asked to either move or clear their structures, which according to Operations Clear the Roads head Bakari Mane, are hindering public movement.
At night, where is the reflection that is telling people there is something that can wound you? It's not. My friend, this country has a law. If you still want to enjoy the stay, you stay here, respect our laws. Because we respect you. We welcome all races in this country. Please, let's work in accordance with this law. And you want to stay. So take it up right now. No,
You see the blockade that you did, it is wrong. Let's respect ourselves. ah ñul respect loi ci biir dëkk bi waaye li ngeen a def ni da ngeen ko génne léegi la moo doon maa ngi demaat nii bu may wàññee ko lii bëgguma ko gis fii anything bëgguma ko ji ngeen clean completely. Get what I said? Move.
When the operations Clear the Roads, also known as the Special Security Operations, began 4 months ago, the interventions were largely concentrated in the West Coast region and Kanifing municipality. Kairaba Avenue is home to the headquarters of all the Gambia's GSM companies, the American Embassy, several banks, supermarkets, mini-markets and small businesses on the sides of the roads, from vendors to money transfer bureaus, among many well-established businesses. Mr. Mane says these structures are encroaching.
We're still clearing and it falls on the public easement and the view is being blocked, the traffic view, and the positioning of it has to reposition. So all what you're gonna do is you bring it down and you fan it back a little bit so that it is moved away from the public easement. That's why we're here. All right? Thank you, sir. Thank you for the cooperation. We're not expecting you to do anything outside your structures. All right? Because when you do, little flowers like this, these are on public easement. Your perimeter stopped here. This is the alignment, you've seen it. It stopped here. Yes, it stops here. So anything where this lady is standing, is your stairs, is you project it in the outside.
Modu Lamin Sisawo, the Deputy PRO of the Gambia Police Force, and some senior officers from the police and sister forces were part of the operations. Deputy PRO Sisawo spoke about the recent operations.
Yes, as usual, nothing actually have changed from the previous areas that we have been to. It's the same steps, the same procedures. We would come to the persons and inform them of what actually we want them to do, especially those whom have clearly gone across the limits, encroaching on the public roads.
Philip Sambu at Corporate Asset Solutions, CAS, welcomes the operation.
Part of what you guys are doing is a good job, and you started well. But I'm pretty sure it will also end well. So keep it up.
The message from the task force, and one which they have reiterated since it started, is that Operation Clear the Road will expand nationwide and is here to stay. Reporting for KTV News, I am Lena Igwenyiba.
We'll go for a short commercial break, and when we return, we have more local news and international news stories for you. Do stay.
The Gambia Revenue Authority GRA will hold the 6th edition of the Taxpayers Appreciation and Award Ceremony on Saturday, March 2nd, 2024. Oh yes, the awards is dedicated to our esteemed and valued taxpayers who consistently pay their taxes and duties on time, file their tax returns on time, present authentic and original customs documents, and comply with relevant provisions of the revenue laws. The ceremony will be graced by His Excellency the President of the Republic of the Gambia, Mr. Adama Barrow, Cabinet Ministers, senior government officials, members of the business community and development partners. A memorable night is assured in this year's award ceremony, which will take place on Saturday, March 2nd at the Kairaba Beach Hotel, commencing at 7:30 p.m. GRA is your GRA. GRA is our GRA, collecting revenue for national development. Tobacco Control Act 2016 came into force in December 2018. Section 9 of the Act gives every person the right to a tobacco smoke-free environment, and a person consuming a tobacco product shall ensure that he or she does not expose another person to tobacco smoke. The Tobacco Control Act 2016 prohibits smoking, including the use of shisha in public places, workplaces, and public transports. A person shall not smoke in any part of any public place, workplace, or public transport and within 100 meters of such place. These places include hotels, restaurants, bars, office buildings, schools, garages, prisons, police cells, video clubs, and public service vehicles, among others. Any person responsible for a public place, workplace, or public transport shall ensure the observance of this section. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health and Management Sciences for Health.
Welcome back from that short break. This is QTV News and I am Jenna Bosonko. As many celebrated Valentine's Day on Wednesday, Matar Jallow, a resident of Kersiring who was hoping for a double celebration, lost all his belongings to a devastating fire just hours before his wedding. And Sumane Sonyasi has the rest of that.
For young Matar Jallow, February 14th is now perhaps one of the most memorable days of his life, but for all the wrong reasons. In a twist of events for the young man, tragedy struck just as he was looking forward to celebrating his wedding in a few hours. The inferno, which consumed all his belongings and those of his immediate neighbors, was said to have started by a candle that was lit and left unattended by a neighbor. The neighbor reportedly had stepped out to buy dinner when the fire began in his room, quickly spreading to other rooms in the compound. Within minutes, the whole compound was in flames. Matar said he was sleeping in his room when he suddenly felt unbearable heat.
Bagage am solo lin fi ñaaka ay lal armor yere yep fi dara jenu fi samuna lawa.
I lost everything, all my belongings including cash, my clothes and that of my wife to be. I just do not have the words to describe how I feel. I am devastated because this was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. Now I am left with nothing, not food, clothes, shelter or anything. Faced with the reality of having to start his life all over again, Matar, who was hoping to start what he thought would be the beginning to a happy chapter in his life, is now seeking for support from members of the public. I am appealing for support. No amount is too small. Even in kind, I will really appreciate because I do not have anything on me as we speak. I simply lost everything. Yusufa Toure, one of several neighbors who witnessed the incident, also calls on the public to help his neighbor.
Di ñaan ndimbal képp ko xamné suñ jàll vidéo bi dégg nga ko rek fu so xol toyé pour nga mun ñu dimbale parce que mit na trop.
He lost everything and having witnessed the incident, I cannot but feel sorry for him. Please help him. We were all looking forward to celebrating his big day with him. He is a very peaceful and supportive neighbor. Anyone willing and able to support Matar can contact QTV via email at news@qtv.gm or call 33-33245 during office hours. Antoine Sonyasi for QTV News.
Very unfortunate incident there from that story by Ansumane Sonyasi. Let's take a look at news beyond our borders. Witchcraft charges against Seychelles' main opposition leader Patrick Hermeni have been dropped by prosecutors. Lena Igwenyibe tells us more about this type of unusual arrest.
Prosecutors originally alleged that the leader of United Seychelles, Dr. Patrick Hermeni, was involved in witchcraft based on a WhatsApp message between a Seychelles national and a Tanzanian suspect, Ali Said. The Tanzanian, arrested with items allegedly related to witchcraft, was found with stones, black wooden artifacts, small bottles of brownish liquid, a collection of powders and documents with strange language and things they called demonic and satanic symbols. Prosecutors claimed the documents were similar to those found in vandalized Catholic churches and other places in Mahé, Seychelles' largest island. Last year, Mr. Hermeni told local media that police officers had raided his party's offices in Victoria, searching for items related to witchcraft, but found nothing. The case also related to the discovery of 2 bodies exhumed from a cemetery on the island of Mahé. Mr. Hermeni, planning to run in the 2025 presidential election under the United Seychelles Party, criticized the case as an abuse of power by President Wavel Ramkalawan, who has not commented on the case. Without giving reasons, the prosecutor told a magistrate's court in Victoria, the capital, that he was withdrawing all charges against Hermeni. Last October, Mr. Hermeni and 6 of his co-accused were freed on bail. In Seychelles history, there has never been until now a political party leader arrested for superstition and witchcraft. This is something new and it is shameful for Seychelles, Mr. Armini said at the time. He previously served as the Speaker of Seychelles Parliament between 2007 and 2016. Reporting for QTV News, I am Lena Igwenyiba.
Now let's take a look at what is happening in the world of sports. Kenya's President William Ruto has taken the compassionate decision to instruct engineers to build a 3-bedroom house for the family of the late marathon world record holder Kelvin Kiptum, who tragically lost his life in a road accident last Sunday. Lena Igwenyiba again.
24-year-old Kiptum had been in the process of planning a home for his family before his untimely passing. Clarifying early reports, the president's office stated that the completion of the house is not tied to Kiptum's funeral next week. Excavation work has already commenced in the 4-acre farm Kiptum purchased, approximately 16 kilometers from the family's current residence in the Rift Valley, where he intended to build his dream home later this year. Philip Kiplagat, the family's spokesperson, expressed hope that the house would be ready by the end of the 40-day mourning period. Kiptum's funeral is scheduled for 24th February. His 2 hours 35 seconds run at the 2023 Chicago Marathon shattered the world record by a massive 34 seconds. It was also the moment the world really took note of his unusual talent. By the time of his death, Kiptum held 3 of the 7 fastest times in history to his name, having also won the TCS London Marathon in April in 2 hours 1 minute and 25 seconds and was voted among the World Athletes of the Year for 2023 by World Athletics. In the wake of Kiptum's tragic accident, his father has called for an investigation, revealing that 4 unidentified individuals had visited his son shortly before the incident. These suspects are now in police custody for questioning, as reported by local media. Kiptum's sudden demise, merely 4 months after breaking the marathon world record, has deeply affected Kenya and the global athletics community. He had been gearing up to make history by attempting to run a marathon in under 2 hours at the Rotterdam Marathon in April. Reporting for QTV News, I am Lena Igwenyiba.
Devastating. May his soul rest in perfect peace. Before we leave, let's recap our main headlines. At the end of consultative dialogues on different thematic areas which preceded the national dialogue, stakeholders recommended reintroducing the draft rejected constitution and the full implementation of recommendations from the TRRC and the Janneh Commission, amongst others. As the Gambia prepares to celebrate its 59th independence anniversary on 18 February, we engaged the public on their reflections and developmental aspirations for the nation. 4 months on from its start and after much speculation, the Operation Clear the Roads team reached Kairaba Avenue in Kanifing on Thursday. In international news, witchcraft charges against Seychelles' main opposition leader Patrick Hermani have been dropped by prosecutors. In sports news, Kenya's President William Ruto has taken the compassionate decision to build a 3-bedroom house for the family of the late marathon world record holder Kelvin Kiptum, who tragically lost his life in a road accident last Sunday. Well, that is all we have for you in this edition of QTV News. Thank you so much for joining us, and join us at 8 p.m. for a special Independence Day QTV documentary on Gambia, the journey since independence. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Independence Day.